Hello, welcome to my podcast. This is Ahmed as your host. I will be talking about which major is better, computer engineering or computer science. Now, when I say which one is better, I mean which field people should go into. So, let's get into it. So first we have to talk about money. When it comes to computer engineering, you can do either the computer engineering side of things, which means you're actually working on projects that have to do with hardware and software, or you can go to the software side, which can also accumulate you a lot of money. Now, in terms of numbers, that can get you at around a starting salary of $70,000 to $110,000. That is just an average salary, of course. With software engineering and computer science, because that's just software, that can get you at around about the same, except it's a lower amount, so it would be a starting salary of $60,000 to $100,000. Now, of course, this excludes the company's demands and company's offers that goes from, like, say, $100,000 to $150,000 or $200,000 for positions and experience, because the more experience you have, the more money you're going to get offered. Now, as for projects, one of the things that computer engineering has done over the past, or I should say one of the biggest accomplishments, was creating a machine to find breast cancer. This was so big at the time, it helped cancer research by a long way, because it helped doctors dial down where the cancer was and remove it with a much lower chance of failure. This technology is still used to this day. It is not only used for the tumor removal surgery, it's also being used for research and advice, and for med schools where they have advanced machines that can be detected as having tumors, so that students can try to operate to remove the tumors. They can essentially experiment on the tumors. Now, in terms of computer science, they have artificial intelligence, they have a level 1 and a level 2, which is software engineering, which in order to get into software engineering, you have to create such advanced software program to be classified as a software engineer. And after you get classified as a software engineer, you get that software salary, which is at the $100,000, right? Which is in between, like, the $100,000 to $150,000. And I would say software engineers also have the benefit of working on artificial intelligence and many things that revolve around artificial intelligence, really, which involves machine learning. They probably have to you would have to learn that. Even as a computer engineer, you would have to get associated with machine learning. Yeah, artificial intelligence is still evolving, and it can go both ways as of right now. And speaking of right now, it is really scary. We can look at some images that are most recent from AI, and you really can't tell which is real and which isn't. Right, so you don't know exactly anymore, which photo is real and which isn't. So yeah, it can get to a point where videos can become as artificially realistic, and maybe code can get as artificially realistic as well. A good side to artificial intelligence is maybe like hearing. We can somehow figure out a way to get artificial intelligence to such an advanced level to where it's curing illnesses that we haven't cured, or like say figuring out like food ingredients, or like curing world hunger. Maybe that's a little like up on the top, but stuff like that would be really good for artificial intelligence use. Alright, goodbye everybody, and you will be hearing from my interviews.
My name is Miss Palmer. I am one of the math and computer science teachers at Burlington High School.
Alright, why did you pursue teaching kids how to code in C++?
I wouldn't say that I pursued it per se. I actually majored in math in college. I took a few programming classes as electives, and then when I was interviewing here, there were 2 positions available, and the one that included computer science courses sounded more appealing to me. So after that, I kind of just fell into it, and I've kind of stuck with it. This is my 13th year teaching it.
Can you share your journey from graduating college to becoming a high school computer science teacher?
My journey from graduating college, I was very fortunate. I got a job basically right as I graduated. So once I graduated, a few months later, I started teaching here. I went to a job fair, I believe it was in April of my senior year of college, and I met Mr. Sheehan, gave him my job application, and they ended up reaching out to me as the school year was kind of wrapping up, and I came in for an interview, and that's been it ever since. So I was very fortunate to get a job right after that.
What are some projects that you have worked on over the past outside of school?
My learning and programming, so I definitely did projects and all that in college. But I've had a lot of fun playing around with mini processors and sensors and all that. But again, it usually is with a kind of end goal in mind of teaching a new computer science course or participating in some sort of program.
What is the difference between computer science and computer engineering in your opinion?
I think computer science is a little bit more general or vague, kind of just the overall concept of working with computers and programming and all that kind of comes with it. I think computer engineering is a little bit more of a hands-on and maybe practical approach.
Can you talk about some of the important events with technology advancements and how computer scientists and computer engineers played a role in these
Obviously there's been a lot of technology advancements even just since I've become a teacher.
Alright, so what are your thoughts on artificial intelligence and do you think it might eventually take over the computer science and software engineering jobs?
I think it goes back a little bit to who's using it and how you're using it. I think it's a very powerful tool, but again, you just need to kind of use it in the right manner.
How do you encourage your students to pursue the path of computer science?
Participating in weekend events. A lot of colleges host these types of events. You learn a lot of information in a short period of time, but you also get to network. You meet other students and kind of see what they're learning at their schools.
All right. Thank you for being on my podcast.
You're welcome. What a treat.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Shireen Tyrell. I'm a teacher in Burlington High School, and I studied engineering at RPI.
Okay. Why did you pursue teaching kids how to code in JavaScript?
I pursued teaching kids to code because I felt like it would help them have brighter futures and more career opportunities.
Share your journey from studying computer engineering to becoming a high school computer science teacher.
Fast forward, I've worked for a lot of nonprofits, and I really got involved in looking at how we make sure that children have better outcomes.
What projects did you work on?
So what we had to do is kind of check shipments to make sure that the chips that we were receiving were actually being made correctly.
What is the difference between computer science and computer engineering?
And I know now in computer science there's also a lot of coursework on kind of IT-related concepts. Like with computer and systems engineering, we were also looking at what's the architecture behind the hardware.
Artificial intelligence and how there's a possibility of it taking over like software engineering and computer science jobs.
Yes, I mean, I think that one of the things that it can do is coding. You know, I think that threat is very real. I know some people feel that, we just have to create new jobs where we learn to use AI better and the job kind of shifts. But I do think it is a real danger.
Can you talk about the important events with technology advancements and how computer scientists and computer engineers played a role in these evolutions?
There was this thing called Moore's Law, and it said that every year the amount of computing power is going to double. If I were in high school now, I think any of the STEM fields is really useful because a lot of our advancements are ultimately based in science, technology, engineering, and math.
How do you encourage your students to pursue the path of computer science?
Yeah, I don't know how well I'm doing at that. I try to encourage them in class. I try to not make it too hard. I try to emphasize that it's important to just try and not worry about failing.
Is there any advice that you would give to the students that are watching this podcast?
My advice would be to not worry and to just make a choice and follow it through. And as you learn, you're going to, it's an iterative process. You're going to change your mind as you go along. And the other advice I would have is to talk to a lot of grown-ups and really ask them about their jobs and what is their day-to-day experience like, and what kind of personalities do they encounter, what kind of personality do they have, how much time do they work alone, how much time do they work with others, how much responsibility, how much authority. So I think interviewing other adults throughout your career is very useful. Because I feel like you can't be what you can't see. And so as a student, you only know what you know, and maybe you know what your parents do, and maybe some of your friends' parents or things you've seen on TV, but the whole world of careers is much broader than that.
Yeah, and I feel like also like looking online and doing your own research about the topic, because computer science and artificial intelligence is also a current ongoing event, right? So they could also do their own research and find it pretty easily.
That's an excellent point. You're right. You could go online and do some research. So yeah, that's a great idea. And then I guess I would add one more thing is if you have an opportunity to do self-assessment work, whether it's an exam or, well, a lot of times they have self-assessment tests, but the more you know yourself and what you like, I think the better able you're going to be able to match yourself to a good career.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Excellent questions.
All right, have a good day.
Thank you.